This is ZNN, the Zodiac News Network.
Action.
Welcome back to ZNN, the Zodiac News Network, Episode 6. My name is Dr. Lawrence D'Antonio, and I will be your host. Good to have you back. Today, Jethro, we're going to talk about something fascinating. It was a little bit baggy, a little bit frumpy. It had 3 holes in it. You slide your fingers into it to spread it apart, and then you slip your face and your head into it.
That's it. Cut. I quit. I'm not going to let you talk about my wife like that.
Your wife? Jethro, I'm talking about the Zodiac costume.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Let's go on to the pictures, okay? Okay, Jethro, what I wanted to show you today is what I do to the letters. This is, I call this the button letter, and of course this is a Zodiac letter, and you can see it's markedly different than normal. But that's what the technique does when we introduce a high amount of contrast. But something I haven't talked about today that is a dead giveaway for a Zodiac letter is another geometric design. I call them transverse lines, and I'm going to try and hone in on them here. Okay. I'm going to get my finger in on there. There we go. You see that transverse line right, where the heck is it? Right there. See it running the whole length of the paper?
Yep.
Okay, these transverse lines are critical. If you find a suspected a Zodiac document and the transverse lines are on there, this is more important than finding the oil. If we find the transverse lines, like I am on this, it's guaranteed it's Zodiac. Okay. So what I want to show you is we're going to let me just move this picture a little bit so we can get a little enlargement to it. And we'll bring it up. These lines, I'm down here on the bottom, they're always in the margins. Sometimes they'll be in the bottom and the top of the page, but they're always in the margins of the Zodiac letters. And as you look at these transverse lines that run horizontal right now to the whole length of the letter, these are most likely, what I suspect they are is I suspect that it's 8mm film that he's laid on top of the letters. And what we find within them is these geometric blocks. Can you see those? They're like square blocks. Right. We're getting into the faces. Look carefully. Each little box is a face. Can you see those?
Yeah.
Yep, we got some writing right there. I don't know if I can get in close enough to pick it up. We got some writing. We've got face after face after face after face. Look here. We've got a serial number down low. I'm going to try and put it in the middle of the screen. That's the serial number that's on this strip. I call them strips or 8mm film. And as we just go along, let's see if I can move that out of the way. No, that doesn't want to move out of the way. We've just got face after face after face, and we're running the whole length of the Zodiac letter. Now, shoot, what's this? What is that? L. Allen? This looks like somebody wrote on the paper here. I wonder if we can get that out of the way so we can see these faces. What do you think that L. Allen's all about? You don't think the suspect put that there, do you?
I doubt it.
I mean, the Zodiac websites clearly say Leigh Allen is not the Zodiac. Right. So what do you think that stands for?
Lamont.
Lamont? Or
Lancelot?
Lancelot Allen? Yeah, I wonder if these are other suspects we don't know about. But it's too bad. We can only see it with my technique. But what I'm trying to show is the faces within the transverse line. So it's really in the way. I'll have to move away from it. But again, these transverse lines are critical. When you find them, then you know you've got Zodiac. Got it?
Right.
3. Okay, we're back live now. The reason I wanted to talk about those transverse lines so much is that that shows you now how he transfers the faces to the paper. And these are the San Francisco Police Department's fingerprints from the Paul Stein cab. And what I'm going to show you is going to be very controversial, but science doesn't lie. What we're going to talk about is the transverse lines in the fingerprints. Now, as we get in close here, I'm going to get my pen on these here eventually. I'm not talking about these lines right here. These are part of the process that they're of putting these prints together. What I'm talking about is the transverse lines within the prints, right through the middle of the prints. You can see the bottom of a line right there going clear through the prints, and then the top right there. Okay, and I'm going to come down to the next set of prints over here, and here's our transverse line. Let me get in close here. Let me get the pen on it and get in close. Here is our Zodiac transverse line. There's the bottom line. It goes right through the prints, and there is the top line right through the middle of the prints. If you haven't figured it out yet, folks, these are all phony prints. They'll never be matched to anybody because he planted these. We've got the transverse lines right through the middle of the prints. I'm going to try and get this one in here. And let's see where it is. It's right here. It is not these big, big prominent lines. It's this very faint line. And as you can see, we're getting into those rectangular boxes I told you about. There, we'll get you a really good face here. Here's a good example of the transverse lines going through the middle of the prints right there. Do you see that, Jethro?
Yep.
Right there. You see it's about, I'm going to say it's about maybe 4 millimeters, 5 millimeters thick. It runs right through the middle of the prints. The prints are all planted. There's your transverse lines. These are all phony prints because he made these up. Here we're into this one right here. I'll get the pen in there if I can drop it in. Here is the end of one of those strips. Here's the bottom line. It runs across this way. Here's the top part of that strip right through the fingerprints. Let's see if we can get them up in here. And you can actually see the outline of a face coming right here with an eyeball in it. The fingerprints, they'll never match these because they're all phony. Way to go, San Francisco Police Department. How your talented people didn't recognize this stuff is beyond me. Okay, Jethro, I wanted to clarify something on those last slides. Those fingerprints are real. Leigh Allen worked at a nursing home with World War I and World War II vets. I'm guessing he got the fingerprints, but then he just planted them on the car. They're not phony prints, they're real. Now, the reason we're looking at this is I want everybody to notice at the bottom of the page, to the left of the fold, there's the serial number. And if you look real closely, you can see some of the little faces. Do you see them?
Yep.
But notice up above, go to where you can see a capital A, an R, and a T. Right where the first letter is, I think it's an I wanted or something. Look very carefully. It's what they call negative relief. There's a white A, R, and a T. So we've got Arthur. Now I wanted to throw in the 340. The 340 also shows the transverse lines. You're going to find transverse lines on all the Zodiac letters. Now this is the big one.
Right.
Arthur Leigh Allen had obsessive compulsive disease, kind of like what you have, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you carried this in your wallet all the time, where would you put a face of your cartoon friends on this?
Probably the forehead.
Forehead. And look, here's the first thing that happens when we add a little contrast with the technique. We've got something smack dab in his forehead. And what does that look like to you?
Dog.
Looks like your dog, doesn't it?
Yeah. Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. You know Scooby.
It looks like Scooby-Doo. Unbelievable.
There you go. I tell you, this guy, it's such obsessive compulsive disorder. He puts these everywhere. Now, for those of you who don't believe that that's a cartoon face, we have something else going, but that's clearly Scooby-Doo.
Right.
And we got for those of you who don't know who Scooby-Doo is, which I never watched it, he was a cartoon character. He started in 1969. And that, yep. Now, this is the other part of the license. It's up in the right-hand corner. We turn outside 450, but there's a little red dot just before the 450. And that little red dot, watch what happens. And I'm red-green colorblind, and I can see that. It stood out like a sore thumb. There's, what do you see?
It's a face.
What do you see? Do you see the big round eyes?
Yep.
What's in them?
I see a face.
The black pupils?
Yeah, black pupils and a face.
Got a smile. He's right in between. He's red in a sea of blue. And just stay with him. There he is. Nice pupils.
Yep.
What do you see?
Exactly.
Okay. Got like a tuft of hair sticking up. Two big bulging white eyes. Black pupils, a mouth, and he's all pink. Nice skull outline in a sea of blue, which is interesting. This is a black and white photo, but the technique brings out color. I don't know how it works, but those color pixels are there. and it shows you with enhancement we can
Amazing.
bring color out in a black and white photo. So there you go. On his driver's license, we clearly have like a little red alien face staring right at you. Arthur Leigh Allen is the Zodiac killer.